Welcome to Soapbox. My name is Joy Halstead, and I'm filling in for Jeannie Keltner this evening. On the show tonight, I have invited a local organizer, activist, and a voice for our homeless community. Before we start our discussion, I'll need to give a shout out to some of our underwriters. And we have Pieces Pizza that's located on 21st between Capitol and N. They have great pizza and they help sustain the crew here. Also wanted to acknowledge James Israel, who's responsible for humortimes.com. You should check it out. He's got really funny stuff on there, worthwhile reading. So thanks for both of you supporting our local station here. Now I'd like to introduce James Lee Smith, also known as Faygo. To most of us, I've asked him to talk about the good work that's going on with the Community Dinner Project, the City Hall, and our homeless folks. So welcome, Faygo.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for being here tonight. I'd like to first talk about the Community Dinner Project and how that all got started.
Well, it got started because I've noticed that there's been a lot of criminalization of the homeless in the United States in recent years. And I saw the 93 or 94-year-old man continue to get arrested in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for serving food. And I knew they had an ordinance here in Sacramento that was similar to that restricts people's right to serve unless they get a $350 permit each time they want to be able to go out and serve people for some free food. And the permit only is allowed to be acquired like 4 times a year, I believe. Mm-hmm. So we felt that it was an issue that really needed to be addressed, and it kind of led into learning about more stuff like the Housing First approach that Utah started, and the idea of taking it straight to City Hall and actually addressing the council with not just the ordinances, but ideas that might actually help create solutions.
Okay, well, I was there the first night, and it was quite interesting. We had a lot of people come out, support, and we got all set up. And then what happened?
Well, at first it was going really smooth. We had like maybe 100, 150 people lined up to eat, and we were serving, and then some of the cops kind of came about halfway through the line, and they started trying to stop from that point on from getting food. So servers started just passing the plates around the cops, and the line kept going. And then they decided they were going to move our tables, and that didn't go over too well. They started moving the tables, and everybody kind of got really upset. I mean, it stayed really nonviolent, but you could tell the crowd was very unhappy about the tables being moved on them. And a couple people actually held on to their table and kept their table right where it was.
Yeah, actually I have a couple pictures that I took the first night. Can you please run the pictures for us? And they're a little dark because it was at night. And it got, as late as it got darker. So, but as it turned out, nobody got arrested. Not
for serving. However, later on during the council meeting, 3 of us were arrested for disrupting a meeting. Right. Because we spoke out at them, continuing to push public comment back further and further, and then right before public comment, calling for a break after everybody's been waiting all night to speak. So people got kind of upset, and 3 individuals, including myself, ended up being arrested for speaking out.
Well, at least, we got some people fed that night. And yep. It still continues on to this day. Yeah, we're working on going into our 39th week at this point. And that's going to be a really, really huge success for us. We've been surprised that the police have kind of just stayed away. They observe, but they don't actually interact with us. They allow us to continue serving our food, which we make sure is organic, by the way. That's kind of about the access to healthy foods. Mm-hmm. And it's really great that they're not giving us a ticket or arresting us for that at this point in time. Yeah, I'm pretty shocked considering the first night, the way it went down. But I guess they're just tolerating it now. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like it would reflect badly on the city?
I think that's more of what it is, since we're actually actively getting people into the city council meetings and getting people there. I think they're kind of worried about a possible media backlash or any kind of backlash from the citizens if they were to actually enforce their ordinance on us.
And what I've noticed too, it's great because it's inspired a lot of people to come down and speak at City Hall that otherwise wouldn't.
Oh yeah, that's actually, for me personally, as one of the founders of Community Dinner Project, that's actually one of my favorite parts is you see these people that are, they've been cast aside by society, they're struggling, they're the ones suffering from all these ordinances that are going on, and they come to get a meal. And they find out that there's people going into these council meetings and actually addressing these issues and encouraging these individuals to step up and get a chance to express what they're going through. Right. And seeing them actually wait through the council meeting all night, sometimes deep into the night to where they've passed up a possible safe place to sleep for the night, and just to get that chance to speak, I think it's been one of the best parts of this project to me.
Yeah, I think it's amazing because it's given them a voice that they haven't had, and you've spurned that to happen. I don't think it would have happened without you stepping up and doing this, so I applaud you for that. I also noticed that now we have kind of different causes going on with each dinner that may not be specifically geared toward the homeless, but there's other issues around homelessness that it can cause somebody to be homeless.
Oh yeah.
Like raise the wage. Different people show up and they support, they bring food, and then they wait and they speak and they get their word across as well. Also, I had talked to one of our common friends who said, a lot of people get homeless because they lose their jobs and they're not employable.
Yep.
And it's really sad that there's a lot of people in that situation right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of different situations that end up causing homelessness. Everything from not getting paid enough at your job so that you can't afford your rent, missing a paycheck, losing your job, a death in the family. Sometimes it's substance abuse or mental health issues. There's just all this plethora of things, and people try to clump all homeless people into one category as they just did this wrong or this wrong. Well, it's not as simple as people think. Like, there's all these different causes that can potentially put people into this situation.
Right, and so it seems like there's still a lot of homeless people out there, and I don't think that the City Hall has been addressing this at all. I mean, I don't see it happening.
I've seen some small changes. They did put $1.7 million towards Housing First. That's going through Sacramento Steps Forward. From what I've heard, they've used that to get, I believe, 67 people off the streets this year.
That's great.
That's great. I mean, there's over 2,000 homeless people in the city of Sacramento that are counted. That's not even counting the ones that are well hidden, and the ones that nobody sees or that don't look homeless. So that's a drop in the bucket. I mean, it's a great thing. It sounds like a great number.
It's a start.
But we need to see more.
It's a start, I guess.
And we've had some successes with a council member has actually been starting a proposal to open up a couple bathrooms in a pilot program in the downtown area, because we've been very concerned about that.
Right.
If you go downtown, everybody knows you got to have a couple bucks in your pocket just so you can find a bathroom.
Right.
And the way this pilot program would work, that he's trying to work it out, we'd have an attendant posted at the bathroom so that they can keep the bathroom safe and clean and accessible to everyone.
I think that would be wonderful. I mean, it's an issue that people they're not aware of.
They're not.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on was the federal law that protects people and gives them the right to rest.
Yeah, the United States Department of Justice actually last month, I can't remember the exact date, it was either the 6th or the 9th of August, they issued a statement of interest in a case that's been going on in Boise, Idaho for a few years, where 7 homeless individuals are actually suing the city of Boise for them being convicted for camping. And this case has been citing a case out of Los Angeles where they threw out the camping ordinance, calling it unconstitutional and a violation of the 8th Amendment. And what the statement of interest from the Department of Justice is doing is basically reaffirming that ruling as being the way that these cases should be looked at.
Right.
So it's cruel and unusual. It specifically cites it as cruel and unusual punishment, saying that people have to sleep someplace at some time, and to criminalize that action is when there is no place else for individuals to go, is criminalizing the status and not a behavior anymore.
Right.
So it's really huge.
Well, I hope all the cities start, paying attention to that and realize that they're breaking federal laws if they don't follow it.
Well, there's a couple extra little things that have been going on at the federal level too. There's the Federal Task Force on Homelessness. They have a specific name. I can't remember the very specific name, but they issued an advisory statement to communities to discontinue the acts of breaking up homeless encampments. And their reasoning behind it is it makes it really hard for them to build and establish trusting relationships that make it easier for people with services to help get people to those services and get people off the streets and better their situations.
Right. And
then HUD also is issuing a statement where they're going to start going after the funding of cities that are continuing, or communities that are criminalizing. They're actually adding a new question to their questionnaire now that will actually address that aspect and be a major consideration on funding in the future.
well, I'm glad that it's finally getting through, because it's been a rough, last 10 years have been pretty rough on a lot of people, and nobody's really done anything to address it, and it just doesn't go away,
Exactly.
It does not go away. How do you feel about when we had a tent city here?
I think that having safe places for individuals to go to, or even just to be at, are essential. If people are able to have just a small space where they can establish themselves and be safe and comfortable, then it makes it a lot easier for them to do better in their own lives and progress back into society should they choose to.
I know KJ sure didn't like it, but I think I heard some feedback that the people that were actually living there felt a little safer, and there was a little more of a community, and that's gone now.
Yeah, there's been in my experiences in the past 10 years of being homeless myself, I've been part of many different homeless communities, and they kind of self-regulate most of the time.
Yeah.
But when you break it up, it just everybody scatters to the wind, and it kind of, that vibe's not there anymore,
Right.
And it adds undue frustrations into people's lives, and it's really hard trying to stay in a good mood when you already are struggling just to be able to find something to eat or a safe place to sleep, a way to stay warm or get out of the heat.
Absolutely.
And then you're getting pushed around all day. It does make it a lot harder on an individual to try to stay in a positive mindset. And having the ability to be at least safe someplace or have a place to set up a camp, that takes away so much stress from people that it actually improves someone's life a lot that way.
Well, I'm hoping that they come to some kind of solution here soon. Before, of course, when the arena comes in, they need to think ahead, because they can't ignore the problem anymore.
Nope.
It's just unreal. But I also wanted to bring up the fact that you also are you organized other different types of causes. I didn't know if you had any that you wanted to mention here that are close to your heart.
Well, I've done a lot of work on police brutality, and that's important to me because I've had friends of all different lifestyles and backgrounds and whatever you want to label it. And I've got to see a lot of what happens firsthand through being present for things that were unjust at the hands of police on both sides of the fence. And it's something that's always kind of bugged me about the way they handle business with people. If they're supposed to be there to protect us, there's no reason we should have to be afraid of calling them because we don't want somebody to get hurt.
Right.
I've also done a lot of work against Monsanto, and Nestle is one of our big projects right now. I actually just got back from Shasta, where they're having Crystal Geyser bottled their water right now, right on top of the mountain. So.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose any more water like that. And, you know, where's Governor Brown on all this? That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, it's a major issue, and you know we've got the issue with the water and with bottled water is more than just them taking the water. It's also what the plastic itself does to the water supply afterwards. You know, we're running really low on water, and we can't just allow major corporations to take it, bottle it, and sell it back to us at 1,000% profit, or even ship it overseas where they've already got water and we're almost out.
Yeah, and yeah, during a drought, it just seems like insanity to me. I mean, we need every drop we have so our systems don't fail.
Exactly, and when you look at the big picture of it, you know, you think one or two water bottling facilities, oh, big whoop-de-doo, but California has over 500 different water bottling facilities in it at this point in time. So, you know, on just at a one at a time thing, it might not be that big, but when you take that and times it by 500, you're talking about a lot of water being drained, and then take into account fracking, golf courses, you know, all these other things that are wasteful of water, and you know, we gotta really do something about that.
Well, I mean, I'm really hoping for a wet winter, but you know, then again, I feel sorry for the people that are out on the streets, because I don't know what's harder for them, to be cold and wet or be, you know, in the heat, or, you know, with no water.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's kind of, either side kind of has its ups and downs in a way, and it kind of depends on the individuals which one they're more able to acclimate to, but both are actually really tough to deal with at times. So.
Also, I wanted to mention that you have a Facebook page for the Community Dinner Project.
Yes.
I believe we have the address. We'll get that up soon.
All right.
And I mean, what would you like to tell people about this project and what we could use and what we need, and things that people need?
Well, we take in donations for clothing that we distribute during the dinner. We could always use more help with organic meals being brought down, volunteers to help serve. Volunteers to help distribute the clothes. Socks are always in high demand. People on the streets really need socks. It's something that, you know, you go through them in a couple of days and that's all you've got, you know, and they're not given away as often as other items. Hygiene products, you know, books. People like reading a lot. There's a lot of really intelligent people that are living on the streets, and it's help them keep their mind active, kind of stuff.
What if somebody wanted to donate money if they can't go and be there?
We have a Shop Now button at the top of our Facebook page, and people can click on that and be able to donate through that. It's through a GoFundMe account, and that helps cover the cost of food, supplies. Like, we try to keep it as waste-free as possible, so reusable dishes are always important. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes they break, so it's nice to keep those going. Large water containers so that we can make sure that everybody's getting some really good water and we're still avoiding water bottles.
Right.
You know, just common sense things. Like, we're trying to make sure that people are getting their necessities taken care of, and at the same time try to make sure that their rights are getting upheld is basically how we're doing this.
Where do you see the future of this?
Funny you should ask. We're actually in the process in the near future of possibly occupying City Hall over the camping ordinance, with the backing of the statements from the Department of Justice and the Federal Task Force and HUD, all saying that they want to see the criminalization ended. We've been taking that into account and feel that it'd be a good time to start building up the momentum and, you know, occupy the City Hall until they get rid of the ordinance. Let them see firsthand how these ordinances are affecting people's lives.
And bring it to light for everybody else to see as well.
Exactly.
And hopefully the news media will catch on to this and realize that it's an important cause.
I hope
and these
so.
are human beings, you know. These are human beings.
Well, they're all our neighbors. You know, like me being homeless myself, I've got a pretty good rapport with a lot of the people in the part of the neighborhood I'm in, and we all just call each other neighbors, you know?
Yeah.
Just because I ended up on the streets makes me no different of a person than anybody else. Like, I know so many people that it was just a paycheck, just one paycheck.
I feel that way as well.
It didn't change who they are as a person.
No.
You know?
It just makes life a lot harder.
Exactly.
You know, but I know you kept the spirit going, and I applaud. We really appreciate the fact that you care about them. Because they need people like you, just to get the word across.
I think it falls a lot on all the other people that have helped make it happen. Because we've had people that have been bringing food down every week. We've got people that have helped uncover a lot of the legal ramifications and the legal work. We've got people that have done really good at getting in touch with media, people that have done really good at just helping us get the word out and helping us keep this going. It really does take a lot of work to do these things, and it takes a really good team to make sure they can actually function. So,
are you surprised by how well this is turning out and how it continues?
Yeah, actually, I kind of am. When we first did it, I was expecting, okay, we're going to try to do this on a regular basis, but let's start it every other week to build momentum. And once we got arrested for basically calling the city out for stalling us out on public comments, just the momentum was hitting so fast and so hard. We just, all right, we're doing this again next week, and it hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, I just, the people that you have supporting you is amazing.
Oh yeah.
And they also need to be applauded, for coming down every week, bringing food,
Very much so.
taking time out of their day, to help people.
Yeah.
And that probably wouldn't be happening as it is there right now if it wasn't for something that you started.
Oh yeah. Well, it's about getting the community together to address all the issues that affect the community as a whole, and it's about starting where the rest of society said, you know what, we're going to leave these guys off to the side.
Yeah.
Well, that's a part of our community too, and if we don't uplift the people that are being pushed aside the most, then what kind of community are we?
Right. And we're only as strong as our weakest link, basically, and
exactly.
we haven't been doing a good job of keeping everybody strong.
And what's ironic about it is we're actually waiting on a budget report right now on how much the city is actually spending on homelessness. And I got to get a few words in with one of the council members that had proposed it. And it's not official, but from what we're hearing, it's in the millions already. And they haven't even got done with the report yet. So this is something that's
positive.
Yes and no, because it's tax dollars being used to basically keep pushing people around.
Well,
when there's other alternatives like Housing First. And anybody watching, if you get a chance, look up how Housing First works. They started in Utah back in 2005. And they've got over 75% of their homeless off the streets now.
It's amazing what they've done there, and there's no reason they can't do that here.
It saves millions of tax dollars.
I think they've done it somewhere else as well and had amazing results. So if they just take that template,
It's been being implemented in a lot of places.
Yeah.
In fact, the federal government's urging communities to start doing so. So HUD funding is going to be starting to go towards Housing First. It's worked so well in Utah that they're really trying to make it go more here. And one thing we want to see the city do is actually start, instead of spending money to keep arresting people for sleeping or citing them for sleeping or, whatever petty homeless crime they've found for them to be in trouble with, instead of wasting money on that, take that money, save some money, and put it into giving people a place to be.
Yeah.
Because once people have a place to be, they can restore their dignity. They can be able to get showers. Almost everybody that's gotten into these homes has ended up finding work or for a legal form of income.
Right.
It's turned people's
and
lives around.
They just need to step up. That's all. It's not a lot, and it could make a huge difference in our community, and it would benefit everybody.
Oh yeah.
There's no question of that.
Exactly, and one thing that's been kind of interesting with watching these council meetings go down is you can kind of, if you gauge, you can kind of see which people actually are more concerned and which ones are just kind of like, yeah, let's go with the corporate agenda. We got to build this arena. Every week you hear them talking about funding for these programs that, they sound all nice when they talk about them, but when you look into them, they're really not doing anything for the people.
Right.
So that's one thing that's really important about why we did this project the way we did, is getting people out to these meetings.
Okay.
Because it's the public's voice that needs to be heard on so many issues.
And that's why, I wanted you to be my first guest here, because I feel it's as important, as anything else that goes on in this town, and if not more so. And, I think you've helped a lot of people, and you've got a lot of people motivated to help. So it's like, passing it forward, paying it forward. And I hope that continues on. And we're coming up on a year now. I think we're going to have it. I think we'll make it.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll make it the full year. We actually started on December 9th of 2014, so it's going to be an interesting one to see how the 1 year anniversary comes about.
Yeah, we'll have to do something special.
I'm sure there'll be something special going on by then.
Well, it looks like we're getting ready to wrap this up, but I just want to say thank you so much for coming down. I know it's not easy. You have a hard time getting around, but you
At
2
times.
feet got you here, and Kosmo dragged you along. So Kosmo, he's being such a good boy. We appreciate him being here too. Your best bud.
Yeah, he's my best bud. He's had him since he was 6 months old. He's now 8.5.
Wow.
So, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for giving me a chance to help spread the word about what we're doing with the Community Dinner Project.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
So,
And we'll have you back one of these days.
all right.
And I hope to be back. And thanks, and keep up the activism, the wonderful activism that you do. And I want to say thank you to Jeannie and the crew, and I hope to be back. And everybody have a good evening. And you have any plans after?
I think we're gonna start getting the organizing on that going pretty soon.
We're going to talk it out.
I'm basically just
Where seldom is heard a discouraging word. The skies are not cloudy all day.